How's everybody doing today? Back again with another video for you guys and gals. And today, what I have for everyone is something a little bit different. So today what I wanted to do is a versus/comparison video between the software on two of my favorite devices. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be comparing and contrasting stock Android 9.0 Pie versus OneUI Android 9.0 Pie on the Samsung Galaxy S8. So this is Samsung's new OneUX interface on top of Android 9.0, and we're going to be comparing that up against stock Android 9.0 the way Google intended it. So starting off, the first thing I want to talk about with you guys and gals is probably the main thing that we interact with our devices with on a daily basis, and that's the navigation and navigating through the software. Now, when it comes to both of these devices, there's two ways that you can navigate through the software on both of these devices. With Google, you can turn on and off your stock Android buttons. So if I just show you quickly here, if we jump into the settings, right, we swipe down to system and we go into gestures right here. You can turn off what I have turned on right here, that swipe up on the home button, and then you have your traditional stock Android buttons, and the same thing can be done here on the Samsung device, but they did it a little bit easier in my opinion. So if you swipe down from the top, you can see right here, we could turn on and off the navigation buttons with this quick setting toggle right here, and again we could turn the buttons on right there. So at least in my opinion, when it comes to getting into the settings and customizing the settings, I have to give Samsung the win, because with their new OneUI interface, they made it easy to jump to this setting. They give you a shortcut right here in the notifications toggle. So if I just long press, okay, we'll go right into how you can customize the buttons and turn on the gestures, which is really, really nice. So I can either choose right here from the quick notification shade pull down if I want to use the gesture controls or use the on-screen buttons, and I can easily swap between the on-screen buttons by just pressing and holding on that navigation bar pull down in my quick settings toggles in the notification shade. Whereas over here on Android, stock Android, I have to dive into the settings, and then I have to dive into the gestures, and then I can turn on and off this, but there is no way for me to, customize these buttons, okay? Not without rooting or installing some type of customized software on the device. So there's no way out of the box for me to customize these buttons. Now I could turn on and off the gesture controls, but that's about it, okay? So at least when it comes to being able to customize your on-screen buttons and your navigation controls, I'm going to have to give the W to the Samsung in that regard. Now, talking about the overall navigation, when we talk about the gesture interface on both of these devices, they both, again, do a really great job, but they are done a little bit differently. Now, on the stock Google interface here, we have our pill controls. So a quick swipe up will take you into your recent apps. Alright? And you can swipe in between your apps, and clear all usually pops up on the leftmost screen here. Now I just have one app open, so that's why you don't see a clear all button there. And then you got your quick suggestions down here across the bottom. This usually has my most used apps there. So that's how you do that. And with the stock Google gestures, you only get the back button if you're on a screen where the software deems that you need a back button. So you can see when I'm on the home screen here, there's no back button because I don't need one. But if I swipe up to anywhere where I need a back button, you see it appears. So that's that. Now, I do have my gripes with this, but we're going to go over that in a second. Now, when we talk about the gesture interface on the Samsung device, in particular with the OneUI, they've went with your full-on gesture controls here. So, the way these gestures work is, let me jump into something real fast. Let's jump into the gallery real quick. And now I have my gestures on, and this is completely customizable here. So if I want to go home, I just swipe up from the center, and I go home. If I want to go to my recent apps, I just swipe up to where the recent apps would be, and it brings up my recent apps. And similar to the stock recent apps here, we get a scrollable pane with my most used apps suggested across the bottom, and I can swipe away or clear all. But what's really nice about the Samsung device, whereas the Google device puts it in the leftmost pane, let me just pull up some apps here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So let me just pull up like 2. Yeah, 2 will work. So you see in the stock interface for the gestures, Google puts their clear all in the recent apps in the leftmost pane, whereas in the OneUI interface, Samsung has it across the bottom as soon as you go into your recent apps tray. So you can see you always have the ability to clear all your apps right away. So maybe you're looking for something and you have a lot of apps open and you like, forget about it, I just want to clear all and start fresh. It's real easy to do that here, whereas you kind of have to scroll to your leftmost pane to get to the clear all button. So at least when it comes to the overall navigation, I have to give that to the Samsung. When it comes to the overall layout of the recent apps, I have to give that to the Samsung as well. Alright? Now, moving on. Another thing that I want to talk about in regards to the software on both of these devices is the one-hand controls. Now, this is important because our devices nowadays just seem to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because in our quest for a smart device, we all like big displays. Now more than ever, having one-hand capabilities is more important on your smart devices. Now, at least when we talk about stock Android here and the stock interface that Google has here, you don't really have too many things that you can do in regards to one-hand controls. Like there's no shrink the screen gesture or anything like that, but they do give you the ability to use your fingerprint sensor on the bottom to swipe down the notification shade if you need to do that, okay? So they make that a little bit more one-handed friendly. Also, the same thing can be done over here on the Galaxy device. You can use your fingerprint sensor to swipe down to get to your notification shade. But what's really nice here in the Galaxy device is that you can pretty much swipe down from anywhere on your screen to bring down the notification shade, just like you could swipe up anywhere to go into your app drawer. So that's really, really nice. And y'all see how fluid that is? Okay? Alright, now it would be a little bit better if I was using my hands, but I thought the stylus would be a little bit easier for demonstration purposes. So it's a little bit easier to navigate, in my opinion, using the OneUI interface on the Samsung device. And another neat thing that I like about the Samsung device when it comes to the one-hand navigation is that their new OneUX interface is particularly designed in a way to where you can access more things using one hand. So you can see, again, if I go back into the notification shade here and I pull it down, this is more one-hand friendly. I can easily access all of my quick toggles with one hand, and there's minimal stretching. And if I dive into the settings here, Again, if I'm swiping through, a lot of these settings can easily be accessed via one hand or one finger, and I don't really have to do too much swiping. And I like how when you navigate through the Galaxy device, it kind of shifts up, so everything is always within one fingertip's reach. Alright, whereas you kind of don't really have that on your stock interface. There's no swipe down gesture on the home screen. As you can see here, you have to swipe from the top and then swipe again to get to your quick toggles. And you can see if I'm using this with one hand, I really got to stretch my hand to get to the toggles, right? Or I have to use that notification shade pull down, and then I still have to stretch my hand to get to the toggles. And if I jump into the settings here, it's kind of the same thing. Now they squished everything together to make it more one-hand friendly. But again, on bigger devices running stock Android, you don't have too many one-handed friendly features going on here. Now, one of the ways that you can fix at least the notification pull down, if you don't want to use the fingerprint sensor, if you find that a little inconvenient, is you can install a custom launcher that enables that ability. In my particular instance, I like to use Rootless Pixel Launcher or Lawn Chair Launcher. Those are two of my favorite ones. Or Nova Launcher, and then you have that ability to do the quick pull down to get to your notification shade. But I have to give the win to the one-hand usage in the one-hand usage category to the Samsung device yet again. Because out of the box, you don't really have to do much here except for jump into the settings and turn on the feature. Whereas out of the box, when we're talking about stock Android, you're going to have to get used to the features that they chose to give you, or you're going to have to install some custom software or a different launcher to get the features that you think are going to be more one-hand friendly. So at least when it comes to the one-hand usage, I got to give that to the Samsung interface, the OneUI interface over the stock Android. Now, let's talk about actual features baked into the software on these devices. Okay, now I got to actually pick them up for this. So, when we talk about actual features baked into the software on both of these devices have raise to wake. Okay, so you can see if I raise up the device, it wakes up, and then I can interact with my notifications. Both of these devices also have double tap. Okay, so I can double tap and I can double tap again to wake up the display. And both of these devices have ambient notifications. All right, so you get a notification, the screen lights up, all that good stuff. Both of these devices do also have face unlock. So you can see it's scanning for my face right now, and it found it. All I had to do is put it in the frame, and I swipe up to unlock. So let me show y'all again so y'all can see it in there. So it's scanning for my face. Alright. And now it didn't see it because I put my face more behind the camera here. So now I have to use my fingerprint to unlock the device. Alright. But if I turn on the device and I put my face where the device can see it, I get that little lock, and then I can swipe up and unlock the device. So both the devices have that ability there. But where the Samsung gets the one up, and I've already covered this in older videos, is that it has the iris scanner built in for more security, but it also has the always on display. But what's really nice about the new software update is you could do the double tap to turn on the always on display, so it's not always running and draining off your battery bit by bit. So you can see I could double tap and then it turns on the always on display, and over time this will go off. I could do the raise to wake and it wakes up the display, and again I got the same face unlock, all that good stuff there. So at least in my opinion, when it comes to the notification features and at a glance features, I have to give it to the Samsung device yet again, because if we go back here and I do the double tap I like the way that your icons are laid out on the Samsung device, and you can interact with these. Okay, now I have it turned off right now, but you can interact with those and do certain things, just like you can do over here on the Pixel device. But I actually like the overall layout here, whereas on the Pixel device, this stays up for a considerable amount of time on the Galaxy device, and I can customize the length of time that stays up. Whereas on the Pixel device, I don't really get to customize this. Now, it comes up, it stays on for a set amount of time, and then it goes off. I feel like they need to add longer stay on time for the Pixel device. But it is what it is. Alright? Yeah. Alright? So, in terms of the software and interacting with your devices, you know, notifications wise, I have to give it to the Samsung device. Okay? At least in that regard. Now, again, talking about more features on both of these devices. Let me just input my pen off camera here. Alright. This is where, again, I have to say that the Galaxy device has more features. Now, they both give you the ability to, do split screen multitasking and all that good stuff, but the Samsung device lets you do app pairing. So if there are two particular apps that I use regularly together, I can set that up as an app pair and launch them side by side here, whereas I can't do that over here. And when I'm in the dual window, I can swap around the apps and change the sizes of the dual windows. Now, on the stock Android, all I can do is change the sizes. If I want to swap around the apps, I kind of got to close one, reopen it on the bottom, and then reopen the other one, where I can easily swap the dual window apps over here on the Samsung device. So that's really, really nice. Also, when we talk about the features on the Samsung device, you also get more baked-in features. So I can launch more than one instance of an app here on the Samsung device. So let's say, for instance, if you have two Facebook accounts, if you have two Messenger accounts, so on and so forth, or you have a dual SIM variant of your S8, you can have two different messengers for your two different numbers. Whereas you can't really do that over here on stock Android. So at least when it comes to the onboard features, again, I have to give the win to the Samsung device and the new OneUI interface. Really, really like the layout and really, really like the features that are baked into this. Alright? Now, moving on. And this is probably going to be the last part of this video here. And this is where we talk about the software updates and security patches. And now, this, in my opinion, would be the only area where I feel like the Google device is winning. So you can see if I swipe in here, we go to System, and then we go to Advanced here, and we go Software Update here. You can see we're running the latest Android OS and the latest security patch in February 5th. I don't think the March one is out yet. Whereas if we go into the Samsung device here and we go to the settings and we scroll down and we go to the software update here and we scan it, and you're going to see this one is actually going to come back with the January 1st security patch, as you can see right there. So there's a big difference in security patches between the software on these two devices, and that has been an area, at least when we talk about Samsung devices, where Samsung has always struggled. Even though they are regularly renewing their commitment to provide faster software updates and security patches, it's always been a struggle. If you do decide to go with your Samsung device, be prepared to wait at least 2 to 3 months for your security patches and or your updates, okay? So that is one area where the Pixel devices or the stock Google software is always winning, because Google, they can push it out faster to their own devices than they can to customized devices. Because the way the updating system works is Google comes out with an update, they push it to their stock devices first, and it gets updated. Then they release the source code to the manufacturers. Then the manufacturers have to add on their custom programming, and then they have to push the update. So it's always a little bit more work to get updates from heavily skinned Android devices than it is to get updates on more close to stock Android devices. So that is the one area where I would say the Google devices or stock Android devices are winning, and that is in terms of the software updates and the security patches. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this video, guys and gals. We went through some of the similarities between these devices. We went through some of the differences between these devices. And overall, if you guys couldn't tell, if you guys were wondering, well, which one is your favorite? And this is probably going to be a first for me, because I've been a big advocate for stock Android, because I really like how Google comes with the timely updates and, more importantly, the timely security patches. But this is where today that opinion is going to change. At least in my opinion, when we talk about the software between these two devices, I'd have to say my favorite software as of this date, which is Saturday, March 2nd, 2019, I'm going to have to say Samsung has the overall better software in my opinion. Okay? Keep in mind, this whole video is based on my opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and we should all respect each other's opinions. Alright? So at least to me, at least in my opinion, in regards to the software, I feel like Samsung is really winning here. The only issue that I'm having now with Samsung devices is that, number one, they're really slow with their security patches. I don't generally care about overall UI updates per se. If your device is feature heavy, then I'm not really going to care about too many OS updates, because I already got the features. But from an end user standpoint, security is very important, and I need Samsung at least to do a better job with pushing out these security updates. Okay? Other than that, I'm going to need Samsung to calm down with taking away the features. Okay? Now, this OneUI update did introduce a lot of new features, okay? And it introduced a whole new UI redesign, alright? But it also took away a lot of the features that I use on a regular basis. So in particular, it took away a lot of the camera features here. So we still got Pro Mode, but we no longer have Pro Mode for video. We just have Pro Mode for photos. Why you take that away, Samsung? I love using Pro Mode for video. Why you get rid of that? Now, it's not completely gone, because if you dive into the settings here and you go down to your modes for the camera here, and we tap on the modes, you can see it still does say that Pro Mode is going to be available for photos as well as videos. But I'm guessing as of right now, they haven't pushed that update yet. So Pro Mode is only available on the new OneUI for the photos. So I don't really like that. I don't know why Samsung would get rid of that. That's one of the crowning features on Samsung devices. Another feature that I don't like that they got rid of was the dual capture mode. Okay? Now, when I say dual capture mode, that gives me the ability to use the front and rear facing cameras at the same time. Whether it be if I'm taking photos or shooting video, I can use both cameras at the same time. For those of you who are wondering, that is indeed how I used to record my my fit and sound demos. This way, y'all can see what music I'm listening to, and y'all can also see my genuine reactions as they happen. Now, because I'm going to be more committed to using the OneUI software, I'm going to have to do it a little bit differently. Now, that is that. So, if there's one thing I needed Samsung to fix, I need them to be a little bit faster with the software updates in terms of the security patches. If there's one thing that I don't like in general about Samsung, in general, when they do major software updates, they have a tendency to get rid of really good features for no apparent reason. So, two things I'm going to need y'all to fix right there, Samsung. Alright, so that pretty much does it for this video. If you guys and gals enjoyed this video, please help your boy out and give the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. You don't know how much. If you want to see more content like this, please feel free to hit the subscribe button down below and click off the notification bell icon right next to it so you guys and gals get notified when I post new videos. Now, I've done full in-depth reviews on both of these devices as well as camera reviews on both of these devices. So if you'd like to know more information about either of these devices you see in this video today, I'll have the links for you guys and gals down below in the video description, and I may throw up a card or two up here in the video so y'all can check that out. Alright, so if your interest is piqued and you'd like to know more about either of these devices you guys see in the video today, down below in the video description should be like a one-stop shop for you guys and gals, and you should be good to go. Alright, that being said, this whole video was recorded using the rear-facing 12-megapixel camera on the Xiaomi Mi A2 Lite in 720p resolution at 30 frames per second, with no external microphone hooked up. So please let me know what you think of the overall video quality as well as what you think of the overall audio quality down below in the comments. And I also want to know if you're a user of more than one smartphone at a time and you use stock Android and a customized Android device, or you use stock Android and an iOS device, what are some features about the software on your two devices that you like? You know, so if you use Android and iOS, what are some features of Android that you think are better over iOS, and vice versa? If you use iOS, what are some features over on iOS that you think are better than Android? And the same thing can be said if you use Pixel devices and Galaxy devices like I do. What are some features on the Pixel devices that you really like, and what are some features on the Galaxy devices that you really like? So please let me know down below in the comments. Let's have a nice, respectful conversation down there. I'll see you down there. That being said, again, I hope everyone has a great day, and I will catch you guys and gals in my next video. Peace, everyone.